go, son.
First most important bit of information, this is my chair. Mine doesn't have the screws in it. I despise those other chairs.
Yeah, it has 4 brand new books. What is that?
6 already on the first day. Good start.
I'm not bad, you can do that. 4 brand new books. You can fold it, but I probably need it. I'm going to use it for sport. I wouldn't use all of it.
Yeah, no TJ.
Yeah, you have
Got Aaron, no Jacob. No Jacob. Cool, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That adds up. So that's an impressive start to the year. 6 of them aren't even here to begin. To be fair, more than that are probably not going to be here by the end of the year, but still. Alright. Oh, there she is.
Who's the class next door?
Okay. Can you guys all read that from where you are? Yeah. Yes, everyone's happy? Cool. It started to fade out in these 2 bits, but we got there in the end. Cool, okay. So, any of you doing spec? No. This is going to be the hardest subject you have. End of story.
Oh. Come on, Joel. We come in sometime. Has that been going on?
Do you guys know about scaling? Right, yeah? Right, methods goes +5. Right? The next closest is chemistry is +4. Right? Languages go up higher, and spec goes up higher, but nothing else does. So, yeah, this will be the hardest class that you have. Now, there are 1 of 2 responses to that. Give up before you start, which might be a valid option. Or alternately, you have to work hard, right? I don't care how bright you are, this is still going to take work. Okay? And if you don't think you're that bright, okay, just work harder. Right? It is definitely possible to do pretty well in this without being necessarily particularly bright. Mathematically, you can push your way through it. So, unsurprisingly, how not to fail? Because presumably, that's what you'd like to do. Pay attention, every class you get. Try to actually get here on time, that's not technically on there, but I'll add that in as a preview. Ask questions that come to mind. As I go through anything that we are doing, if something doesn't click, stop and just go, no, I don't get, whatever. And work through it until you're happy with it. And a Jacob. Okay, done. Yeah, ask any question that comes to mind as it comes to mind, because I assure you, if you don't ask at part 3, by the time we get to part 7, you're going to be totally lost. Alright? So ask it as it comes up. If you feel like an idiot, that's fine, because I'm not going to consider you an idiot if you're asking questions. I will consider you an idiot if you wait till part 7 to ask about part 3. Right? Ask as soon as it happens. Right? Because if you ask at 7, that makes me think that, hang on, your processing time took 4 other steps before you realised, no. Right? I want you to ask questions as soon as something doesn't click. It may be the case that you thought it made sense, then we get to 7 and you go, no, hang on, I didn't understand 3 then because I thought this was going to happen. Fine, right? Ask questions anyway. I would still rather that you ask questions at 7 about 3 than come back next class, we do something else, and then you're asking about the part 3 from last class, or worse yet, last week. Right? Deal with the problems as they arise. Cool. Do your homework as soon as possible. It will build up really quickly. Right? Do it, kill it with fire, make sure you're happy with it, and that it's done. Email and talk to me out of class. You don't have to do both. It's just a very good idea to be doing at least one of them. Don't wait until the next class to deal with problems because it'll just compound really quickly, and generally speaking, if I set any homework, it's because I need you to understand that before we do the next thing. Any of you guys work? Yes? Cool. Guess how much time management you have to have this year? Lots. Right? If you're going to work, that's fine. I don't care if you work. All I care about is that you get my work done. Right? You can do the other work too, but I care about this one. Don't fall behind whatever you do, because it is really hard to catch back up. If you're sick, if you're away, if you're whatever, I don't really care. Right? But if you miss a class, be proactive about it. Ideally, tell me beforehand. Obviously, if you're sick, that's going to be a bit difficult to pull off. But if you know you're not going to be around, tell me so that I can prep you before you disappear. Because then it makes it easier for you to shuffle things around. If you're sick, it'll happen. Either email me or talk to me before the next class as best you can. If you're sick for a prolonged period of time, definitely email me, do something, because the longer you are away, the harder it is to catch back up. C point 3. Once you think you've mastered anything, just have another think about that, because just because you assume that you're really good at it doesn't mean that you are. Right? Always double check everything and triple check, and always question yourself about it, because odds are very good that there's some slight subtlety that you've overlooked. Cool. Everyone's happy with the 5 points? Yes? Overwhelmingly, anyone that does not get through to next year failed on at least one of those, and usually 2 or 3 of them. Right? It is a really simple 5-point list. So long as you do those things, you will pass. Right? You may not pass particularly well, but you'll at least pass. Right? Depending on how well you do them, that will determine how well you pass. Cool. Next bit, there's a whole bunch of assumed knowledge. This is not an exhaustive list. For example, you should know how to do addition. Right? I'm not putting that on there. So fractions, heaps of you, I shouldn't say that. Heaps of previous people have really sucked with fractions, and it bites them in the ass real fast. Make sure you're across it. If you are not across any of this stuff, tell me as soon as you figure out, oh, I suck at this, because then I can give you other stuff to catch you back up. Operations in general, so plus, times, divide, all the rest of it, powers, all those sorts of things. Linear algebra, by that I mean y equals mx plus c sort of stuff, right? So all that. We'll go through that very quickly in Head Start, but that'll be it. Index laws, we should be happy not just with index laws, but solving and doing a whole bunch of that stuff, which you definitely did last year. Geometry 2D and 3D, we don't really do geometry and methods, but we do presume that you know things so that when we do other things, we can steal bits from it. You'll do a whole bunch of that in further, but it's literally year 8, 9, 10 sort of stuff. It's just the basics. Basic probability, which you would have done with me in year 9 and year 10. So hopefully you'll be okay with that. Having said that, we do a recap in the middle of the year for probability, but hopefully you've got enough pieces there that you're just filling in tiny gaps. Cool, generally, how each class will run. It'll be admin at the start. This is obviously an exception because it's the first one, so this is a really long admin. That'll be like 5 minutes, just whatever random things we have to deal with. 20 to 50 minutes will be me up here doing stuff, fielding questions from you guys, making sure everyone's happy. 20 to 50 minutes, it'll vary wildly depending on what we're doing. Cool. During that time, ask as many questions as you see fit. Don't feel like an idiot for asking questions. If you feel like an idiot for asking questions, I don't care. Right? Ask a question anyway. If you're like, no, I care more about my social standing than my understanding, that's fine. Your understanding is going to go through the floor, and then your social standing is going to follow pretty quickly. Right? Because then you are going to look like an idiot when the sacks come back. So, sacrifice how cool everyone is, right? And just ask questions. Certainly your points in my book will go up if you're asking questions. Take as many good notes as possible as you can. This is kind of tricky. This is a skill you're going to have to learn. Copying straight off the board is better than nothing. Generally though, the mindset I want you to have is think about how good your notes were during last year, and then when you looked at them to revise for the exam that's just gone, how useful were they? Because I know for a lot of you it was, yeah, not really. Right? So I need you guys to be doing stuff now that's going to help you later. I can't tell you exactly what form that will take. Everyone's got their own different little stuff. So anything that you think of, right? And it can be stupid things that you just thought of that this is kind of like whatever, you might just put that in the margin, right? And then hopefully that'll help. The thing that'll help you overwhelmingly though is do all the homework and do it to death. Because if you do something a million times, you can't forget it. Ask me to pause at any point. If I'm doing stuff and you're like, hang on, is this that you ask the question? Yeah, fine, cool. Can I keep going? And then you can just go, nah, hang on, I want to write this bit down. I'll wait. Right, I'm quite happy to pause and wait in classes because for you guys, this is not going to be straightforward a lot of the time. So I'm very happy to be very patient. The other roughly half of the class will be bookwork. There is almost zero chance that you will get all your homework done in class. Right, some days it'll be possible, most of the time it won't be. Right, there is going to be a hell of a lot of homework, and I apologise for that, but at the same time, I don't, right, because that's the nature of the beast. Clarify problems in class as they appear, and then unsurprisingly, if you get home, you're like, nah, I lost it. Right, email me. Right, I usually respond to emails within an hour. If it's a weekend, usually within 2 hours. Cool. Having said that, don't like go, oh, you responded in 67 minutes or whatever, right? Like, usually. Cool, class will end, unsurprisingly. Everyone will be happy because they can go. Do your homework before that next class, right? If you wait, you're going to, one, forget what you were doing in the first place, and two, not be prepped for the next part. A lot of this stuff, I need you to do the homework so that when we do the next thing, it's going to be some variant of what we've just done. That's a little bit more complicated or some version of that. Cool, you all happy with the layout of that? Yep, cool. Word of warning, I have roughly 500 years of math to cover in the next 2 years. Unsurprisingly, I can't pause the timeline just for any one individual. Right? I can pause what I'm teaching, but I can't just go, sorry everyone. I mean, we've got this nice timeline, but I'm just going to put everyone 1 week behind so that someone can catch up on the homework that everyone else did. No, right? It's not fair to everyone else if I start pausing stuff. The SAC, you guys know what SACs are? Yes, everyone knows what SACs are, cool. They're called CATs or SACs, and I don't particularly care for the difference, so either other, same thing. Those SAC weeks are pretty much set in stone. They're really fiddly to start moving around because we try to organise them so you don't have a million of them at once. Having said that, I will try to, as we approach one of those, I'll ask you, do you know which days you've got any of your other SACs? And I will try my best to shift it around to make it as easy for you guys as I can. So to dodge as many double up days as possible. Sometimes it's always going to happen, particularly towards the end of term 2 and the end of term 4. It's going to be pretty hard because everyone wants to do SACs in the last 2 weeks. Because unsurprisingly, that's when everyone finishes. So those are going to be trickier, but I'll still try to shuffle it as best we can. Obviously, if you guys don't know when your SACs are, that makes it really hard for me to help you. So you want to keep track of when everything's coming up. Yes, okay, so keep up at all costs, whatever you've got to do, you do. Make wise decisions or your marks will advise you after it's too late to fix it. Right? You don't want to go, oh, I got a SAC back, I got 20%, I wonder what I have to fix. No, you missed the point. The SAC is hopefully you demonstrating that you are competent. Because we'll deal with resets and all that sort of stuff later. But you don't want to be doing resets. As a general rule, if you have to do a reset in methods 1, 2, you're not going to make it 3, 3, 4. There's only one person that reset 1, and it's because you only just managed to barely fail the first run, right? And then he did it on the second and did fine, and then he managed to get okay, and then at the end of year 12, he only got a 29. So you do not want to be failing SACs because it's usually a pretty good marker that you're not going to make it. So you've got to be proactive about stuff. Everything in 1, 2 is examinable in the 3, 4 exam. So year 11 is 1, 2, year 12 is 3, 4, right? Most subjects, it's just the 3, 4 content is in the 3, 4 exam. Methods is one of the ones where it's just 2 years, all on the exam. Yay. So you have to be across it. And almost all of 3, 4 requires a solid grasp of most, if not all, of 1, 2. So it's unsurprising the way math has been forever. If you don't do well last year, it makes it real hard to do well next year. It builds on itself. So yeah, this is not a warm-up year. take it seriously, bash it in the face as much as you can, right? Otherwise it'll bash you in the face. Cool? You want to kill it with fire as soon as you can. Don't let it grow. You want to kill anything that starts to leak out as fast as possible, because once it starts to get away, it really starts to get away really fast. Questions, queries? Yep.
What's your email?
Email. Good point.
Just like, oh no, I'll do good sex. I'll warm it up. That's pretty serious, isn't it?
You guys read that, or is it That's okay? Yep. So it's the same as your guys' school ones, it's just mine's joy. The front, I don't have any numbers in it. All good? Cool. Alright, next thing. Timeline. And this will start to make it really clear that we're on a tight schedule. Yeah. A few little bits and pieces in this might change throughout the year, and I'll tell you as it's happening, but for the most part, this is pretty much the way it's going to go.
Oh, you want me to give you a look?
Alright, oh.
You sure? It's not even, it's Josh's.
Anyone got one yet? No?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. 3 out of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So 20% of them have got it. Okay. Get on top of that because you've already got homework. So, the way we're reading this. Hopefully you figured out by this point we're in week 1. I've got it starting on the Mondays, even if that Monday is a public holiday or not a school day, just so that everything makes sense for when you're looking at it later. Basic algebra review is what we're going to knock out. That's all of chapter 1. All of this, in theory, you know how to do already. I want you to get good fast and perfect about it, because this is unsurprisingly basic algebra review. It's basic. You should be able to do this. Having said that, if you're struggling and you're finding troubles, email me and whatever. There's also Monday nights after school and Thursday nights after school. I'll be out there. Wednesday nights I'll be around for a little bit of time as well. Tuesdays I've got school meetings, and Fridays no one wants to be at school after Friday. So I try to make myself as available as possible for you guys. Cool. We're going to knock that out this week. So that's 1A through F. 1A, by the way, you do not have to do question 8 and 9 because they end up having quadratics involved in them. So I'm not particularly worried about 1A, question 8 and 9, but the rest of it we're going to try and knock out pretty quickly. Next thing I wanted to look at was, when else do we have this class? So is this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? No, we've got Friday. Do you guys know if we've got it on Monday or Tuesday? Monday. Okay, so we've got Monday period 4, Wednesday period 1, Friday period 3. So that's actually a nice spread. So that actually gives you a fair bit of gap to do this homework. So that's probably the best to look for. The only less than ideal one is probably right now, because like you'll have to go immediately to period 2. Everything else there's gaps after class as well. So if you're too shy about anything, just ask after class. Right? Having said that, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to fill in gaps. Yes. Go. Alright. Oh, by the way, if you're getting second-hand books, that one's for year 12, so you don't want that one this year. But then again, if you want it for next year, sure. Might be a little bit cocky, but sure. Alright. Now, where are we going to put this? So we've only got 1 to every 5. 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. Alright, if I drop this there, is that going to be useful? Might need you guys to watch up there, so that you can steal share books for today. I could roll that, and I might go projector.
You have to reset one
Soft.
method back. You're probably
When are we getting tech? Oh, first of all, does anyone have no idea when they're getting their textbooks? Oof. Okay, get on top of it. Is it going to take anyone other than those four? Are you guys all getting textbooks this week or no? Yes? Not sure? Not sure? Get on top of it because unsurprisingly, you're already like if you get the textbook in a week, you're already a week behind potentially on the homework. So you've got to come up with a workaround until you actually get the textbook. Go. Question, sorry, 1A, I'm not going to bother to run through because it should just be second nature. Actually, I might even do this.
Isn't there only one question?
Have a flick through the first bit.
That's exercise.
Stop! Oh, exercise.
Make sure you can actually see a textbook wherever you exist. Shuffle through the first chapter, see if there's anything that you are worried about, and then we'll deal with that on a preferential basis. And then most of them will do in class, hopefully.
This sounds so serious. I'm going to try and pick up some spares. It's 19, I think.
What's that? Today is the 20th. So Monday was the 18th. Yeah, so it'll go through every Monday down the list, even though it may not have been a school day.
So is this the work of the week?
No one's looking concerned at anything just yet? No? Okay. You're better off looking at the questions themselves and just going, can I answer this or not? Rather than reading the whole thing. So you just flick through, look at a couple of questions, go, yeah, I know how to do this sort of stuff. Flick.
Yeah, it's on.
Cool. Alright, given everyone's pretty quiet about this. So, even though you know how to do 1A, I want you to do, not necessarily all of 1A, but I want you to do at least the last half of it, save for question 8 and 9. Right? Because if you can do that, then you're fine.
Yeah, it's alright.
Right? Same with the rest of
it.
it. If you can do the last
choice,
half, then you're probably fine. There's a little bit of leeway in this. So, for question 1, it goes from A to whatever that is, L, right? I don't need you to do A through L, right? If you do, like, don't do the first 4 and go, yep, I know what I'm doing, and then jump, because the first 4 are always the easiest, right?
That's true.
If you can do the last 4, then jump. I'm okay with that. This is very much about you guys figuring out where you're good and where you're not good, and then dealing with it. I don't care necessarily how much homework you do, I care only how competent you are. So if you can be doing 25% of it and totally competent, fine. If you need to do 100% of it to be totally competent, unlucky, but fine. But if you're only doing 25% of it and you're not competent, then I'm going to be annoyed. Make sense? Yep. How about it?
If you run out, I'll give you another one. I still got 3 left. When do you use 1 plus 4? Do you need another one for another subject? Sure. Alright, I'll keep 130. Yeah, I think that's legal pretty cool.
Today's 20.
Can't you do legal and can't you do legal last year?
Yeah, I see some of the proofs. You're like 8. I don't know how they even let it do 34. Huh? Maybe all the teachers are.
What are you worried about them for, Peter?
Huh?
What are you worried about them for?
No, I don't know.
You don't know, okay.
No, I don't have a book.
You don't, you're joking.
Where's the book?
To write in or
Oh,
to
no, I
work
got a
out?
book. I got a book
Okay.
to write it.
Right.
But I don't have like a textbook.
Just as they do, it's the start of a new year. You better have your books to write in. You got one like less than a metre to your left.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Use that. Let's make this a public. Put a public. I'm gonna take a photo and put it there.
Just send it.
I can write this out, yes?
I'll take a photo.
Going,
I'll take a photo
going,
and then I'll just put it in the middle.
not yet.
That's fine.
It's fine, I can write it. Going, going.
Wait, no, you. In the middle.
I've got period 3 and 4 for this.
So,
We'll find out, I guess.
what?
Before you use them in cakes.
They don't have cakes.
Yeah.
I don't need cakes, man. It's fucking slim without cakes.
That's that.
Oh,
Read that. So you don't have to look sideways all the time.
Oh, we did from 3.
Except that there's no solutions necessarily. So let's see.
I'm really sorry, man, dude. It's crazy, man. Don't.
Yeah, there's 8 and 9 millimetres, but I'm not particularly worried about that at this stage because it requires quadratic stuff too. I would probably say just do 4 and then the last, maybe the last 5 out of 5. the last 4 out of 6, and the last 3 out of 7. That's about it. Right, so it's, each of these should take you no more than, I don't know. For 4 and 5 it shouldn't take you more than a minute. For 6 and 7 it might take you 2. Like for each thing. Algebra is going to be happening the entire time that we go through this, so if you're not feeling great about this now, start asking questions. Because we're going to kill it with fire. Yep. Yep. Which, okay. So, okay, scratch this. So, check this with it. Okay, so, do you want to get x by itself, right? If you knew what this x was, you'd multiply it by 3, then divide it by 4. Right? Good. Whenever you're doing algebra, do everything backwards and opposite. So the last thing was divide 4.
Yes.
So undo that, and multiply everything by 4. So we get 3x equals 5 times 4.
Once you have it, it turns off.
We then need
No.
3 times x, so we need to undo that.
Like
So
after
divide by
like
3.
30 seconds, it turns off.
That happens on your
X
phone as well.
equals 20. Sorry.
I'll take them off
Follow?
camera. Then all you could do is swipe off.
Ah, good question actually. As a general rule, guys, decimals are not your friend. Leave everything in improper fractions. So if you've got 2.5, you make it 5 on 2. Right, you want to be happier with, well, you will be happier with fractions in the long run, even if you don't believe me. Is that a question or not? Yep. You died? Okay, so we've got,
You minus 3 off it, and then you get negative
what
1.
makes this difficult?
And then you divide by.
Right, there's 2 x's, right? Floating around. Cool. So ideally we only want one of them floating around. Yes. In this specific case, I'll actually say take this. So which of these 2 things is smaller? 3x. So generally you try to get rid of the smaller thing. So we minus off 3x on both sides.
Right, I'm gonna have to rip this page off.
6x minus 3x.
Watch out afternoon. That's not
3x
a lot.
minus 3x. Do you know what you're doing from there?
That's only an ox
Okay.
for my.
If you knew what x
Who
was,
should-
you'd multiply by 3 then minus 3.
That's only ox for my receipt.
Algebra is always everything backwards and
I
opposite.
haven't paid for
So
my subject.
that's the last thing.
Oh, yeah.
Should I ask Andrews or
So
I'm
these
not
two
trying to
kill
go
each
to
other.
fucking chemistry.
should I ask Andrews or someone else to move? I think Andrews.
Plus the 4 earlier. If you plus the, yeah, you can. You can plus the 4, then minus 3. Yeah, that works. Just to be clear, guys, there's more than one way to skin a cat in methods, right? You haven't heard that phrase?
No.
Okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Just means there's more than one way of doing things. Right. There are many instances where you can do 2 or 3 or even 5 different things, and you'll end up with the same endpoint, so long as they're all valid. So I don't particularly care which method you use most of the time, just as long as you can get consistently to a good result. Hence why the subject is called methods with an S on the end. Because I'll teach you a whole bunch of different ways of doing things, and you already know a bunch of different ways of doing things, even if you're not aware of it. Also,
You guys looking forward to doing that?
Just to save you a little bit of annoyance, I am quite happy for you to, I'm quite happy for you guys to just to go, oh, minus the 3, so I get that, or minus the 2x, so I get that, move the 12, you get 4. I'm quite happy for you to do that, right? If you desperately want, you can do this, you're just going to be, what do I do after that? Minus 2x. You're welcome to do that, it's just going to take you twice as long because you're writing in extra stuff. Right? And you are also welcome to just go there, there. Right? You're welcome to jump as many steps as you want. Having said that, if you start making mistakes in those jugs, obviously I'm not going to be happy with that. So, comes both ways. If you're jumping straight from the start to the end, then I'm going to be mildly suspicious, but for this one, you can't. It's just the way it feels, I'll become very suspicious. If at any point people that are looking at this need an answer check, just tell me and I'll flick over the answers. In fact, I should probably find those now that I've said that. Oh, answers. Do people want answers or questions?
Just the answers.
Just answers for a bit?
Yeah.
Alright. Also, the book is not God. It is commonly wrong. There are commonly misprints and errors in the answers. So if you're like really confused about an answer, email me or talk to me about it, and it may well be that I just say, yeah, no, the book's an idiot, don't worry about that, you're fine. And that happens a lot. Not like 80% of the time, but like surprisingly high, like 5 to 10% of the time. Well, maybe not that quite that high, but 5% of the time there's an error. That's probably about right. 1 out of every 20, yeah, something like that. Certainly more than 1%. What's up, man?
Would you? I hate
I don't know.
Okay. What makes it annoying?
Full from.
Fractions.
Why?
Okay, how do you get rid of fractions?
Is that H
I don't know.
How did you get rid of
negative 792?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Do you have any example of fractions? Okay, if that, if you have that. Okay, right, times by the bottom, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so in this case, you've got two different bottoms. Fine, just do it one at a time.
Fine.
Okay, so multiply everything by say
Go,
2.
my son,
first.
go.
So
Learn.
you have X. Wouldn't be like 2x.
Yep. Yep. Cool. Yeah, there you go. That's overwhelmingly what algebra is. It's just about what makes this annoying, how do I kill it?
Oh, this is so triggers. What?
And we'll progressively get more and more
Hey,
of
there's
things
two
that you kill one thing and that creates a new problem. But we'll deal with that as we go. But it's
I
the
can't do
general,
everything like that.
the general path is kill the most annoying thing first. All good? Beautiful. for 1A, how close to done with that are we? Pretty close? We're getting there? Almost done? Yeah. Hopefully we're on to at least 6 by now. No? Okay. Oh, maybe, okay, at least 5. Hopefully we're around 6, 7. Yeah, no, maybe. Maybe. Because we've got A through F for this week, and we've only got 2 classes this week. So, yeah. Under there. And this stuff's like the stuff that you should know, and we're just making sure that you guys know.
I'm just doing this 3.
Oops.
Oh yes, sir. Mate, I'm just too quick on this one.
This is for 1C. I'll give it another minute or two to knock out whatever you're doing. I'll run through these examples just to make sure everyone's happy with it, and this will be 1C. 1B is just the worded version of 1a, basically. So it's just the read the thing turned into an equation, equating.